Welcome back to Bowl TV for match play here at the 2016 USBC Senior Masters at Sam's Town in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Matt Canizaro once again. Wire-to-wire coverage here at the 2016 event. And we are in the second round of the winners bracket. We've had 32 players lose a match already. They're awaiting their next round in the elimination bracket. However, all these folks on the lanes at the moment victorious in their first three-game match. Total pinfall the decider. Joining us on 19 and 20. Party's getting started with Mike Scroggins. He's taking on our 2016 ITRC Super Senior Classic champion, Junichi Yajima, all the way from Japan. Thinking the 70-year-old right-hander enjoying what he's seen here at Sam's Town. Has been rolling for about the past week or so. Over on 21 and 22, we have Dave Saragliano, who left the 3-6-7-10 to kick things off. He's taking on Andy Nyer. Nice cover there by Dave. Stay clean here in the early going. The lanes were not conditioned in between blocks, so this is the burn from the last round. For our left-handers, however, they're not following any left-handers, so essentially pretty close to what they saw in their opening matches. Obviously, different pairs. You never know what may have happened, but had 10 minutes of practice to get comfortable out there. And now it's showtime. We'll get your rundown of the right hand of the bracket in a moment. Big thanks again to everyone for joining in. The Bowler Show is in the house. Calling card of Dave Waswell. So welcome, Waz. Welcome, everybody, here to Bowl TV. Taking a look at the bracket now. One of our featured pairs, we saw Robert Brown, the number 62 seed, knock off Rick Steele-Smith 665 to 606. Steele-Smith came in as the 3 seed. Paul McCordick 652 to 530 over Donald Harrington. Sam Macarone 725 over Peter Knopp of Germany 521. Chris Warren with the 741-608 victory over two-time champion Dale Traber. Joseph Petrovich in a high-scoring match against Ronald Boroff 729 to 708. Petrovich advances. He'll take on Joseph Goldstein 607 to 498 over Philip Menke. Eddie Graham, big 779 over Billy Langford at 588 to advance. He takes on Ron Moore, who defeated Mark Williams at 576 to 554. Patrick Shipley defeats Lenny Borsch 646 to 624. Ronald Cleveland with a 299 game leading the way against Paul Renteria 653 to 587. Junichi Yajima got to this match by defeating Jerry Brunetti Jr. 701 to 652. Mike Scroggins with a 679 to 645 victory over Michael Karch. Tommy Martin a 535 to 514 victory over Kevin Croucher to advance. He's taking on Alvin Liu, who defeated Noel Vasquez 692 to 579. Terry Rohr with a 584-463 victory over Sam Lanto. He now gets to face Pete Weber, who we saw here on Bowl TV, 729 to 545 victory over Kevin Anderson. Nyer defeated Darren Peters 616 to 609 to advance to 21 and 2. For Dave, held off Skip Wolf 630 to 600 to move on The winners of all these matches across the house will be done for the day after this. So we'll have 16 players remain in the winners bracket. We'll have a few more rounds of elimination bracket. We actually haven't had the first round of the elimination bracket. We know the matchups, but we'll get to see those players hit the lanes coming up next. But we'll have 16 remaining on that side of the bracket as well. So 32 players will remain. Half the field, unfortunately, is going to go home by the time we pack up the gear at the end of the day. You can visit bowl.com/Senior Masters for all tournament information, including a look at the lane graph, schedule for the remaining few days, the full roster standings, live scoring. We also have a link to the bracket and live scoring in the description below the video. Scroggins with the mixer, 4 out of 5 here in the early going. It's not what Dave was hoping for there on 22. That one gets away from him. Loses the count on the spare.
So we've seen Sirigliano throw a lot of strikes here in 2016. Great run at the USBC Open Championships recently, where he and his teammates, all 50 years and older. But Sirigliano strikeless here in game 1 of his match against Andy Nair. He'll go get 8 on his second attempt. Finds himself in a hole early. Nair with an opportunity to double up and really take advantage here in the opener. Nice break there for Scroggins, tripping the 3 and the 9. So he'll be down a couple pins here to Yajima. High scoring match on that pair earlier. P. Weber, 729. We know Yajima likes that pair for sure. We saw him find success at the Super Senior Classic. Loose arm swing with the $6,500 payday.
Certainly an impressive performance. Won some tough matches, including against Ron Moore in the final. Delivered a strike in the 10th to seal it up. And has been on cruise control ever since. Has been really never fell out of the cut number here. Was just coasting along, doing his thing, averaging 215, 220. Got off to a strong start in his first match against Jerry Brunetti. Took care of business from there. Now looking to have a nice break the rest of the day. Finds trouble in frame 8, however. 2-4-8-10, working on a double. Few pairs to our right. Parker Bone, third, taking on Eric Forkel. So a pair of left-handers. Facing off in that match, and Parker actually down here in the early going. Just a few pins separate them, but not off to the blistering pace like we saw in his first round match. 7-78. Scroggins with the double to set up the 10th. Get to 246. Nice shot from Nair, also attacking the lanes from the left. Finds himself up 33 here in the early going. It's again 3-game matches, total pinfall determining the winner. This double elimination format. No one's been eliminated yet, but in our next round, we will start to see people having their 2016 Senior Masters run come to an end. That double in the 10th. Scroggins into the 240s. See if Sirigliano can cut into his deficit here, stepping up 9th and 10th, looking for that first double. Yajima will be down at least 44 pins after one. So a little different than what he saw in the opener when he built a big lead. Gonna have to work the opposite direction this time. Very nice bounce back from the miscue in the 5th frame. 3 in a row for Dave. Gets a 205 still. .244, 200 advantage. Scroggins over Yajima. 44 pins the difference. Late hit on 10. Dave slapping that one out.
And rightfully so, given the start to this match, the first 5 frames, not a strike. Got her ball on a spare. And now to finish strong and make this pretty close match after game number 1.
Well, Matt, it appears Parker Bone the third human after all. First game under 200. Like he finished with a 198. Forkel can get to 225. He's able to throw all 3 in the 10th. Looks like he got the first one. He's going to hold the advantage. Nair adding a late hit on the corner pin to his own. Get to 218, hold up to a 13 pin advantage. Defending champion Amleto Monticelli off to a big start, 255 against Stony Baker. Baker can max out at 182, so after barely surviving his opening match, Amleto looking to make a little less stout here. Michael Lucente up by 64 over Steve Brinkman, 244 to 180 after one. Brian Leclerc 278 to 205 over Brian Voss, so big advantage to Leclerc. Close match after one. Jack Jurek and Brian Goebel, 245 to 243. Jurek up by 2. Chris Warren at 221. Sam Macarone, 191. 30-pin advantage for Warren in the early going.
For all those bowling fans out there, in the Terry Rohr Pete Weber match, being Facebook Live. And big crowd there, 13 viewers for Terry Rohr. So his fan base has grown since his first round win. Good to see our good pal Terry having a good week here at the Senior Masters.
He's going to have his work cut out for him against Pete. Down 214 to 175 after one. Paul McCordick up 234 to 176 over Robert Brown. Johnny Petraglia 245. Norm Duke 228. Talk about a matchup there on 33 and 34. Dave Arnold's going to hold the advantage over John Donovan. At least by 40 pins heading into game two. Ron Moore 252, Eddie Graham 244 on 39.40. Patrick Shipley 226, Ron Cleveland at 179. I think we got most of the matches there through one. Low scoring affair. Joseph Petrovich 179, Joseph Goldstein 163 after one. Back-to-back miscues for Yajima. Scroggins looking pretty locked in. Could be some trouble for the 70-year-old right-hander. All tend to cooperate in the sixth, however. Some trouble for Scroggins in the 7th, working on a double. Four, 6, 10. Still in pretty good shape here. Looking over at 25 and 26, Parker Bone making a ball change. Looking to stay undefeated, our top overall seed. No problem in his opening match, 778. Currently has his hands full with Eric Forkel, though.
Well, that really is the first test of any kind of adversity for Parker this week. It was what came down to him against the record book in qualifying. And spent the last game or two shooting for the 15-game qualifying record. He got there with 37-12 total and cruised through his opening match today, so a little bit of pressure. Perhaps sometimes gets the adrenaline going. Get some momentum for the rest of the day. Nair leaving the 7-8. Tough spare. Kind of different. Similar to the Aaron Smith, the 4-5, but unable to convert.
That's what I usually do too, so.
So after the slow start for Sirigliano, he's got the momentum in this match. Nair with bookend open frames, 4-bagger in the middle. Similar swing in the Scroggins-Yajima match. After a pair of opens, Yajima on the 3-bagger. Scroggins now looking to get back on track.
After not striking for the first half of game 1, Dave is rolling here in game 2. Was down 13 after 1. Looks like he's going to reset lane 22. Doesn't like that missing 4-pin being in his line of sight.
Mixer for Yajima for the 4-bagger, so that's one way to avoid having to shoot spares. Keep on striking. Sirigliano looking for his own 4-bagger and can't get number 10.
For Yajima, he can still get to 242. Max for Scroggins 234, so all three he gains at least 8. After being down at 44.
Big 10th here. That one's not going to make it back. Almost gets a break. Can't tickle the 2.
He's about ready to show you.
Looks like he might have stuck on the approach there. So no leverage. Easy spare though in the 2-pin. Mark London. Likely back home in Texas and checking in here in the chat room.
.220 gives Yajima a total of 420. So gonna be down here heading into the finale.
This match is going pretty quick. Aaron Smith. We started at 1:30. Next round's not till 4. Get the lanes re-oiled for the first round of the elimination bracket. All winners will be 2-0 and done for the day. Tough break there for Nair. So first the 7-8 and now the 7-10 on lane 21. The PWBA TV show that'll get you 100 grand here. The Senior Masters right now might get you a round of applause and a chance at keeping this match close. He will take one. Scroggins flush double in the 10th there.
He's going to increase his lead. Going to be give or take 50 pins heading into game 3.
PDW. Starting to get some momentum against Terry Rohr.
.58 pins, the advantage. Mike Scroggins heading into his final game against Junichi Yajima, 478 to 420. Sirigliano double in the 8th and 9th. 258 out there. Max score for Nair, 212. Question in the chat about what is the pattern. Competing on condition provided by our official lane maintenance provider Kegel, 40 feet in length, nearly at 29 mils for the volume on the Kegel ice oil. You can see a graph, numbers and more at bowl.com/Senior Masters. Click on the information tab, you'll find the link to the lane condition there. Also talking about things I see, a 379 for Parker Bone. This match against Eric Forkel. Looks like that was in the 9th frame.
Forkel now a local standout here in the Las Vegas area. Long-time tour player. Just looking up and down the top 64, Mr. Smith, I feel like I've either grown up watching these guys on TV or chronicled their careers at the USBC Open Championships. And in the case of Steve Brinkman and Terry Rohr, a chance to bowl with them on the big stage. And now Somebody else stepping up on the big stage. Down on lanes 7 and 8. Joseph Goldstein Sr. with the front 8 in his match against Joseph Petrovich. We'll keep an eye on that. And if I got to run for it, I certainly will. Aaron says, nay, 9 count in the 9th for Goldstein. But an advantage in that match, which is the most important thing right now. Get 1 pin more than your opponent. Doesn't matter what the score is, as long as he's got 1 pin less.
A few questions in the chat about who's leading, and well, at this point of the tournament, as long as you're winning, you're leading. So all these players have won their first match, the double elimination match play bracket. So standings kind of out the window. We determined seeding that way. So that's how folks got their matchups. But at this point, each match starts fresh, 0-0. 3 games determines the winner. Total score.
Had a couple Hall of Fame matchups today. Earlier, Brian Foss down Walter Ray Williams Jr. And now it's Norm Duke and Johnny Petraglia squaring off. Star-studded day. Bowling fans getting their money's worth of this admission fee. Stoney Baker and our defending champ, Emleto Monticelli. 45 and 46 right now. Both players striking strikes at the back half of game number 2. Get you a total here in a minute.
Looks like Eric Forkel can get to another 225 after shooting that in the opener. Parker can only get to 217 after the split in the 9th frame. So Parker gonna have to find a big game here, it looks like. To remain in the winner's bracket. .47 for Sirigliano. Gives him 452 for his 2-game total.
This one certainly went much differently than it looked like it was going to after 5 frames for Sirigliano. True competitor, shaking it off. And now, sizable lead with 1 game to go. Bowling Dynamics, I believe, is the name of his deal. Out there helping other bowlers get better as well. We talked a little bit about what he did for Emleto Monticelli recently, and you got to talk to Emleto about that, and maybe tell the folks one more time as we wait for Emleto to finish his match here. A little way down, a nail biter with Stoney Baker.
Yes, Emleto, right before the Senior U.S. Open, just things weren't feeling right. A little bit of tendonitis in the hand, and just wasn't getting out of the ball the way Emleto usually gets out of the ball, so it wasn't as consistent as he'd like to be. So he was in Phoenix, went to Dave's Pro Shop, and him and Dave kind of looked at things, and Dave made a few changes. not only with Amleto's span, but the pitches of his thumb as well. Amleto said, you know, after that, it was a pretty big change for him. So he took about 16, 20 games to get comfortable with the changes. Ended up making the step ladders at the Senior US Open. Followed that up with a win the very next week on the PBA 50 Tour. So Dave helping out a fellow bowler, and now Amleto in position to punch his ticket to the next round. Dave looking to do the same.
Amleto leading 511 to 428 now over Stony Baker. Those strikes add up kind of interestingly on the scoring system, and all of a sudden it's a huge lead for our defending champ. Looking to be 2-0 and going to the pool for the rest of the day should this one pan out. So final game rolling on here. Again, if you want to follow your favorite players on the live scoring, go to bowl.com/seniormasters. The bracket is there, updated each round, and a link to the live scoring here at Samstown Bowling Center. Right now, all winners on the lanes. Had the left side of the bracket earlier this morning, followed by the right side. 16 winners on the lanes right now. Sorry, 32 winners. This round is over, we'll have 16 winners left. Next round coming up at 4 p.m. local time. Top seed Parker Bone III. Down to Eric Forkel at this point. They're a couple pairs over. Forkel big fours as soon as I say that. Could tighten that match. Petraglia and Duke. 490 for Petraglia, 463 for Duke. They're at 33 and 4. Scroggins rolling here in game 3. Minus the split in frame 3. Perfect otherwise. He's got 7 out of 8. Scroggins plus 58 coming into this game, so looking to advance here, no problem, against Yajima, the 70-year-old from Japan. Sirigliano 452, Nair 419 after 2. So advantage for Dave. Double there for Nair. Closes the gap a little bit. Parker Bone with a chance to get past Eric Forkel now. Forkel with the open in the third frame. Parker with the front 3. Make that 4. He is fired up. A couple pairs to our right. And rightfully so. Sirigliano up 33 coming into this game, but unable to double. Nair putting 3 together. We've got ourselves a match on 21 and 22. Right now Scroggins taking a victory lap on 19 and 20.
Scroggins, another player looking to join that short list of Masters and Senior Masters champions. Sirigliano's carry has gone away after having a nice stretch there, middle of or end of game 1 all throughout game 2. Struggling to find the hits, had built up a 33 pin advantage, but Nair responded back here in the finale.
Looks like PDW, hottest player on the planet right now. Likely going to get past our pal Terry Rohr. Parker now with the front 5, trying to close the gap on Forkel. Parker front 5, Forkel 4 out of 5 with a big 4 in between 2 doubles. So Aaron Smith, the wheels turning on our storylines for today. After this, all the winners are done. So get working on the story. Headline simple, 16 players remain undefeated. USBC Senior Masters, a long way to go here in match play before we know our 5 players for the step ladder. Andy Nair trying to get there. 5 in a row for him. Down 33 coming in. Sirigliano cannot double. Needs a big finish like we saw in game number 1. After a slow start. Looks like a possible ball change coming up for Dave. Something to knock all 10 down.
Near disaster for Parker. I shouldn't say disaster just yet, but in the 6th frame over on lane 26, had the 3-7 up there for a second. 3-pin fell out, just the 7 left standing.
Sirigliano answers. Ball change was legit. 10 back, dead flush. See if we can get the left lane here and keep firing.
733 to 623. Mike Scroggins over Junichi.